I lied. It's August. Hello. It's August 20th? 20th. And today we're doing space, robot, and nonsense. It's a good day. This is all the best sections of the news.
Arguable.
Wendell.
I mean, business is strong.
Business is sometimes strong. Wendell got a water.
I'm done with orange for today.
And we were talking in the first episode. What region is that from? Does it say?
Oh, yeah.
That's Kroger water.
CA, CRV, or 10 cents.
It'll say bottled from X and X Spring and so.
Maybe they don't do it on the individual.
Reverse osmosis technologies. That's all it says.
That's probably just white box water that somebody else makes in Kroger brands, right?
But it does say CAOR. Is that Canada, or not Canada, California, Oregon?
I think that's a 10-cent deposit. Yeah. You can take this bottle somewhere.
That's just the regulatory stuff. They don't have to tell you where it comes from, I don't think.
Please recycle.
It's from the Kentucky River. You just got swamp water.
It was packaged without BPA.
It doesn't matter where it's from as long as they put it through those filters. But you did point out that there might be a slight issue with Zevia.
Oh, yeah.
I think we should probably warn people.
It burned my taste buds off.
That's a little aggressive, though, right?
Maybe that's why you don't mix it. Now, did you experience anything like that the other week when you just drank one by itself?
I think it might be because I literally had both cans.
A little too much?
It's a lot,
too much.
Yeah.
Everything in moderation, including orange soda.
Yeah, definitely. One orange soda per news is the right number. I mean, it's probably twice or three times the carbonation of, the Orange Crush standby.
Well, once again, I cannot come up with a transition to go from that to SpaceX.
A swarm of sodas.
You have drank a swarm of sodas recently.
Yeah.
I think that might be catching up to you.
Yeah, maybe.
And you know what's catching up to SpaceX? Actually, nothing, because they're way out ahead of everybody in the world, and they're so far ahead, they're snapping up competitors.
SpaceX is buying a satellite data startup, Swarm, a rare acquisition by Elon Musk's space company. So basically, Swarm thought of something that he didn't and was like, oh, crap. Okay, well, let's just buy him.
Interestingly, I don't think any of these will be going into the Starlink type of stuff. The thing that their satellites are famous for, there's something B, some kind of B satellite. Space B. They're the tiniest satellites you can buy.
Neat.
Maybe these are like a stealth project. Maybe it's like, oh, you're going to complain about me ruining space. Oh, we'll make them smaller. And some sad robot news.
Oh.
I have faith,
sad
though.
Beeping noises.
Just because you fail on your first attempt doesn't mean that you should give up. Perseverance. Keep trying. Persevere.
Oh.
NASA's Perseverance team is assessing the first Mars sampling attempt. There's a crater there. They were not successful in getting the sample. I guess this was harder than they expected.
Well, we're not sure. There might be more details now, but so the whole thing is automated. There's a button that you push that's collect sample. You don't control anything manually, obviously, because of the lag time. They got the drill. Obviously, we can see they drilled the hole. They put the sample collection container in there. Then they stored it. But after they weighed it, after it was stored, it doesn't seem like it changed weights at all.
We don't have a sample.
There's multiple pictures there. Scroll through. See the arrows? Are there any other good ones?
That's not Mars.
That sure looks like a hole to me. A darn fine hole on another planet.
I suppose that's the drill.
Well, it was less exciting of a slideshow than I'd hoped for.
Did you think there would be pictures of something other than a hole in the dirt?
I was hoping maybe they'd see a picture of the sample. They checked the weight and they're like, that's not right. And then maybe they took a picture of the sample, but...
Nah, they have a picture of the jar in one of the things I was reading, but I don't think we ever saw the sample because it might not exist.
Yeah.
I'll show you a picture of the sample, Krista.
There's nothing.
There it is.
There's nothing in it.
What are you talking about?
Now, SpaceX, I think if I were going to go to space and I had to choose one of the space companies, I'd probably choose SpaceX. What about you?
Yeah.
Krista?
Yeah, probably SpaceX. They've got the longest track record.
They've definitely brought the most ships back.
Yeah.
They're the ones who've actually been to the space station. But if you recall the price tag on their trip, I believe it was 28 million.
Yeah, a little high.
Kind of high. Virgin Galactic, they're slashing prices.
Virgin Galactic says a trip to space aboard its rocket plane is going to start at $450,000 per seat.
Well,
now,
let's
remember,
get two.
They define space as like the nearer space. It's not the farther space. It's not the 60 miles.
And you don't get to spend very much time.
No.
So you do get less for your money, but...
It's a steal, though. It's a bargain.
What if... Do you think that he would let Bezos buy every seat on the plane? And then just be like, we're not going, but send it anyway. Just put stuffed animals in the seats.
The stuffed animals go ahead of the Make-A-Wish Foundation kid who then dies.
If I had that much money, I'd do stuff like that.
Just piss people off.
You think the world hates Bezos? Wow, would they hate me. You guys heard of Bennu before? We've heard Bennu's been in the news.
I think so.
I think we did an article on him like 17 years ago.
Wow, you're going to gender it. Bennu, it's kind of one of those specters that people love. I think this is kind of Krista's deal with black holes. It's kind of fun to be afraid of something that massive and hard to get your head around.
Oh no.
Sorry.
But good news about Bennu.
Scientists fine-tune the odds of asteroid Bennu hitting Earth through 2300 with NASA probe's help. You can rest a little bit easier, NASA says. NPR did an article on this too, but they had a different take. It turns out that we've imaged 95 to 98% of the asteroids anywhere near us that are about a kilometer or larger, and it seems like the Earth is in pretty good shape to not get hit with anything for at least a couple of 100 years.
NASA's like, if we last that long, and then they start crying and drinking in their offices.
Yeah.
Womp womp.
If any of us are alive in 2300, we'll probably be praying for death.
Well, I was gonna say it's probably the planet will just heat up so much it won't matter.
I prayed for death, but death won't come.
That'd be like one of those Warhammer things where we're attached to our computers and they demand that we keep cranking out changes to a certain GitHub.
What could possibly go wrong?
You didn't make enough commits this week. You will not get your glucose paste.
No.
And SpaceX, like we say, head and shoulders above everybody else, maybe more than head and shoulders, maybe light years ahead if we're using space talk. And they do have a very impressive looking vehicle.
Musk says, this is a dream come true to fully see the stacked SpaceX Starship rocket during prep for orbital launch.
Look at it.
It's like Lego.
What do you think about the black color, Krista?
I think that's on brand for Musk.
It's going to show dirt, though.
It is. And there's a lot of dirt in space.
So here's a picture of just that's the heavy, right? The heavy booster. Yeah, the super heavy. God, that is big. When you put the building in context and the cranes.
Yeah.
It's large.
We got to get all that stuff into space.
It's a lot of horsepower.
Gotta build that space bunker.
Pretty cool. They got to put all the heat shields and stuff on it. So it's not 100% complete yet, but
Well, it's just some hot glue in a weekend, right?
Yeah.
It's like a craft project.
Well, you got to be real careful because remember that one where the time we got the heat shields wrong? The one
Yeah.
NASA did?
Oops.
Yeah, that caused the problem.
That was a bad day.
We've heard a lot about this. They say that this is here now. I can't imagine it's very good, right?
It's not.
I got to think that. What are the? If you run this 100 times, how many times do you get compile errors?
Microsoft is a big believer in this, and they've got a version of this that's kind of like built into their Power Automate tool, where you can just be like, in natural language, you could be like, when I get an email and it's from this person, light it on fire. You can kind of do that.
Well, that kind of stuff is. Would you call that programming? I guess you would.
Yeah.
OpenAI's Codex turns written language into computer code. You just tell the computer what you want, and it fills out the editor.
This stock image.
Not good.
Is this the recursion of a computer writing code? Is that what we're?
I think that's what they were going for.
Yeah, okay. I kind of get it. I'm not worried about my job security. Are you? Based on that?
Every few years, someone will be like, "Oh, this thing's gonna get rid of your job," and it never happens. I mean, eventually, it probably will be right, but
It might be a problem in a generation or two, but it's not going to be a problem for us. Not until we retire.
Now,
we retire.
We're never going to be able to retire. What are you talking about? They're going to move the
Till we
Social Security
die.
age to like 95.
yeah, and we'll all be, the new normal. We'll all just be at home anyway, so you don't have to go anywhere. Until you get dementia, you will be a slave to your console doing stuff online.
They're going to be the YouTubers of the day that are doing videos, and it's like, oh my gosh, my Amazon customer support rep was 98 years old.
I couldn't even understand him. He had such a weird dialect.
It was cool, though, because he had augments on his ears. He was able to hear everything I said.
They look like elf ears.
Now, I will introduce this story by saying, remember that Google wanted to get into, and I think they did, and maybe Amazon as well, wanted to get into anonymized medical data. Remember that?
Oh, yeah.
They were going to make it completely anonymous, and everybody was like, wait, how do you do that? And they're like, yeah, we just make it anonymous. It's so easy
We're
to do.
all the same on the inside.
Don't worry. It's super anonymous. You don't have to worry about that.
AI algorithms are uncannily good at spotting your race from medical scans, boffins warn. For certain races, it's 80% accurate.
No, that was...
At the low end.
that was-
99%.
it wasn't certain races, right? It was certain algorithms.
Oh.
They have different algorithms, and the best one, 99%.
Wow.
They can't explain it. Because there's differences between males and females in terms of, like, bone density and hip shape and skull shape.
I learned that from the hit TV show Bones.
But I don't think that the differences between the races are that pronounced. Or maybe they are, but we just
Maybe
miss it.
maybe they're looking at like certain disease prevalence, like
No.
Is this a win for humanity that the doctors are blind to race when they're looking at x-rays?
I don't know if that's a win or not, because then in medicine that could be important.
well, see, I'm wondering, like, because
No, what
I
they
know
did-
black people have like a higher incidence of diabetes, for example. So it's like, are they looking at that
No.
as well?
No, not at all. All they're looking at is scans, like x-rays of your body. Actually, it's just x-rays. X-rays of chest, hands, chest and hands, and then label each image according to the patient's race.
Oh, yeah. Didn't they say that knuckles, the knuckles on the hands were different on the different races, and they'd never noticed that before, but then once the computer pointed it out, it was like, oh, yeah.
That's interesting.
So now when somebody says, we're all the same, you'd be like, no, our knuckles are actually different.
There's a minuscule difference that humans can't even see, actually.
Don't be that person, YouTube commenters, because you're already those people.
Don't be that person.
Don't poop on the carpet. I don't understand.
I poop on the carpet at home.
Do you think anybody at Ford, when they were, the marketing people were getting together, did anybody bring up as like, this sounds a lot like Blue's Clues?
Yeah.
People are going to make fun of that. Should we maybe rethink it? I don't know. If we
No.
can.
We tested Ford's BlueCruise hands-free driving, and here's what it's like. I, for one, embrace our new robotic overlords. The short version is, it's pretty good. They think it outperforms Tesla in some regards. They also think it's insanely dangerous in other regards.
There's an even shorter version. It's Super Cruise. It's the Cadillac one. It's the same thing.
Yeah.
It only works on certain roads, but it does a really good job when it's on those roads.
Yeah.
Let me guess, they're all like flat, straight,
Yep.
Mostly
out in
interstate.
Arizona.
Yeah, mostly interstates.
Yeah.
But there's 100,000 miles of mapped roads, and I guess they're adding to it. Well, I don't know what they're doing, but
Big deal.
you get this on the new Mustang Mach-E, which is not really a Mustang, and the F-150. But not yet. It's not out yet.
I will be impressed when we get a self-driving car that can handle Eastern Kentucky roads.
Yeah, I don't think
Until
any of
then.
I doubt any of the 100,000 miles is in any of those counties. I almost threw out some county names, and I was like, whoa, no.
No, they can't know. I mean, there's limited options, but they can't know.
So we found out recently that we know that these production companies are getting into using deepfakes for their own purposes, and we saw that somewhat embarrassingly in the Star Wars world,
Yeah.
where both Leia and Luke were very poorly done and then corrected by a young man with a regular PC
By some internet bozo.
who now works for them. But other companies are also looking to get in on this.
Warner Brothers is using personalized deepfakes for its latest movie promo. Basically, you upload your picture, and then you watch the trailer, and by the time you get to the end of the trailer, you're in the trailer.
What
I
are the
don't
odds?
like it.
What are the odds that you just went into a facial recognition database when you do that?
So they can use you
very-
in other advertisements or
100%.
CGI projects.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Definitely don't do that if you're privacy minded. But it is cool.
I remember when Subservient Chicken was cool.
Remember when we used to be able to put your head in some of the sports games on the consoles?
Yeah.
It wasn't good.
Yeah. This same face replacement thing is not even really new. I mean, Deepfakes is new, but there were promos for certain things that were done in Flash, and you'd watch the movie trailer, and like then it would, shock you by being like, "Wait a minute, that's me, and I'm in this horrible thing that's happening on the screen." It
Those
was,
were also not great.
yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah. Some grainy video.
yeah,
I remember that one, though, where the guy was like in a scary room. Is that the one you're talking about?
Yeah.
And he was doing all the like, but it was you. He was coming after you.
yeah.
Did they ever make that into anything?
No, that was total PR stunt.
Expensive marketing. That's what that was.
Yeah,
Now, we are not big sports people, but even as a non-sports person and definitely a non-soccer person, because, we're here in the good old US of A, I know that Lionel Messi is a big name. He is, I think he's considered to be one of the best ever to live. So it's a big deal when he switches teams.
soccer superstar Messi is being paid partly in crypto by the PSG.
PSG being one of those teams. I don't know what that stands for.
Is that like a thing to get out of taxes, you think?
No, it's actually kind of a money-making thing. So the crypto he's being paid in is not Bitcoin or Ethereum. It's the PSG fan token.
Of course.
Yeah, because that's a thing.
Now you're wondering, well, why would they publicize this and why would they do this? What does this matter to me? Well, I can answer that with one screenshot.
Ooh.
See those green candles? That's a 50% increase since they announced it.
They knew what was happening.
So, Mr. Messi, you think they paid him in the crypto up front, or does he have to wait and get it every week?
Probably both. Probably give him a huge amount up front, and then he still has to get it over time.
That is just a part of the 41 million. So I think he'll be liquid enough to deal with it, even if there's market fluctuations. Oregon is making some changes to their curriculum. Now, we've seen a lot of curriculum changes through the years. We had the Common Core Math. Not a good one.
No.
That one didn't seem good. Now we have critical race theory. Yeah, it doesn't seem great, but both may be pale in comparison to this.
Governor Kate Brown signed into law an Oregon thing that will allow students to graduate without proving they can write or do math, and she does not want to talk about it.
Isn't this just No Child Left Behind?
It's like, okay, look, we've had a bad year or two. Let's just call them mulligans on your high school education. It's fine. Never mind the students that worked really hard.
Right.
Everybody gets a
Never
pass.
mind the fact that even if you don't, like, you need to do math and write in everyday life. You can't enter a contract for like a rental or anything else if you don't know how to read and write.
People do it every day. I know
Yeah.
people do manage to get through life without reading it, which is astonishing to me.
I think that's probably like that was more easy to do back in the day. I don't know how people do it now
So
because it's so easy to be taken advantage of if you can't read what you're actually signing your life away to.
but think about this. If you can't read, you can never get fished. So a lot of people pointed out, they were like, well, standardized testing is stupid. I agree. Standardized testing is stupid. But this wasn't just standardized testing. Sure, you could pass one of 3 standardized tests to prove. But if you didn't do that, you could also do like an oral presentation, or you could do a project and have that judged to prove your reading and writing and basic math. Now, none of that.
So don't worry about it. You passed.
Yeah, just get out of here. Just scamper on out of here. Make some babies and get them back in this system. That's what we want.
No, go sign up for a bunch of student loans that you can't dismiss through bankruptcy.
Yeah.
Don't read that fine print because you can't read it anyway.
Do you think, now that I'm asking you this question, I'm thinking that maybe the answer could be yes. Do you think you could get into an American university not knowing how to read or write?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I
You
think
think
you
so?
could.
Yes.
Maybe not. Oh no! Turn it off! Turn it off! Turn it off!
Absolutely, you could. You know why? Because they want those student loan dollars.
Yeah, they don't care. It's like you might not get into a great university, but you could get into a university.
That would be a great hidden camera type of deal, right? Like go to a community college and be like, listen, I'm approved for all. Here's my paperwork for my funding and everything, but I got to admit something to you and see how far that goes.
Yeah. Will they try to get you to sign on?
I think
after admitting you can't read.
You know how the state and federal auditors will just go to random gas stations and fill like a 1 and a 5 gallon container to make sure that it's exactly perfectly accurate for. Yeah. I think we should, if we've got this whole crazy Department of Education, I think we should have people like that are undercover illiterates.
It's tough to draft kids to do that though.
Yeah. I suppose that's true.
Maybe we could remember the girl who was the lure on To Catch a Predator?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, she was like 24, but she looked 12.
She really did.
We need to get people like that.
To do that.
Put them in the school system.
Like, I'm not literate. Like, I was like, oh, we're going to put you in English 400 to start, and you'll be fine. Don't worry about it.
Wouldn't that be kind of a nightmare, though?
Yeah.
Like you're with just a bunch of young people who think you're also young, but you're not.
But it would be a good, it'd be good. It'd be good for finding the schools that just want your money versus the ones that are like trying to actually give you a higher education.
But I think the majority want your money.
Yeah.
Even if they do have educational programs there and they do care about your education, they want your money.
The purge, though, resulting from all of that fraud would only be beneficial for mankind. Anyway.
Yeah.
That's kind of how I feel about the jab. I don't think it's the Thanos thing, but if it was, take the really obedient and just jettison them. I mean, present company would suffer. Some of us. That would suck. But so you remember Galaxy's Edge?
Yes.
Galaxy's Edge was a hot new Disney property that was all Star Wars, and boy, those prices! Those little it was like a 6-ounce Coke, right?
Yeah.
Was $7 or $8.
It just looked like a regular old Caribbean resort with some Disney branding.
Yeah. Well. It must have been pretty successful because they've gone further.
Disney World finally releases prices for its new Galactic Starcruiser Star Wars hotel. It's going to cost you $5,000 for 2 nights.
That's if you're going by yourself. By yourself. Add a kid, it adds like another $600. Add a partner, and it adds like another $1,200.
I'm just over here vomiting in my mouth.
Well, wait, Krista, till you see these amazing, luxurious accommodations.
I mean, they look cool, but geez, that is so much money. For 2 days, you could have a whole trip to Gatlinburg for that price.
If you go...
Multiple trips to Gatlinburg.
If you go by yourself for $5,000, does it include the crazy alien escort?
You mean like a romantic escort?
Yeah.
One of those, the girls with like the big blue things?
Yeah. That's Fifth Element, but yeah.
No, I'm talking about like
the other ones.
The ones that were in the cantina.
Yeah, I mean, that'd be fine.
This room's super futuristic, but then if you look, there's a vent. Like just a regular old air vent in this photo.
Well, even Disney can't defeat the local codes enforcement.
Oh, yeah. They were like, we really don't want to have air conditioning. They're like, sir, this is Florida.
Well, also, they know their customers. There's going to be a fire.
Yeah.
Eventually, there's going to be a fire. But the thing about it is, so the whole idea here, and this is kind of another crazy part about it, right? This package doesn't get you into the rest of the park.
Oh, screw that.
You spend your entire time in this building, which is supposed to be a starship, right? Like your whole week, or actually it's not
2
even a
days.
week. It's 3 days. Yeah, two days and 3 nights, I think. You spend your whole time as if you're on the starship, which, like the hallways and the rooms are small because that's how it is on the starship. Plus, they're trying to pack people in there. The only time you can leave is to get on the shuttle to go to the Galaxy's Edge and come back.
Well, obviously.
But they are going to take care of you. All your food free with your $6,000 payment, but not booze. You have to buy your own booze.
So this is way cheaper than what you could do with Virgin Galactic. So
that's true.
Go to space with this.
You could just pretend to be in space. But they point out that like the really, really amazing grand hotel that is in Disney World that you can like literally stay in the park, $600 a night.
Yeah.
So quite a bit of savings.
I will never understand the weird obsession with Disney and spending this amount of money.
I'm going to go and stay in the Magic Castle by myself, and I want a Disney princess to wake me up every morning.
Now, they do point out that some people in the past have shut down Epcot for the night for a birthday. They didn't price that. I imagine it's high.
Probably somewhere north of $5,000, would you say?
Somewhat, yeah. Especially if you add a partner.
Didn't Michael Jackson do something once that was like $15 or $20 million at Disney? I think there was a bunch of kids, though.
Oh. Well, that's dark. And one thing about computers, we've built them, they're amazing, and we keep pushing the envelope, and it's incredible, but the one inside your skull outpaces it by a long shot, and it runs just on stuff you find lying on the ground. It's incredible. How can we mimic it?
Synthetic brain cells that store memories are possible, a new model has revealed. So
Heavy breathing from Elon Musk right now.
So it's not so much the density of the storage or the speed, it's just the efficiency of the whole thing that they're trying to copy. Because if you plug your brain up to a power supply, like a modern CPU power supply, there'll be way too much power.
Yeah.
You don't need it.
Yeah, it's only like 25, 35 watts.
It's very low, yeah. This is
nonsense.
This has nothing to do with tech. Like, how do you pass this headline up? You see this headline, you got to talk about it, right?
O.J. Simpson says he's worried he'll run into the real killer if he goes to L.A. O.J. Simpson claims he won't go to Los Angeles and run the risk of falling victim to the real killer of his ex-wife and her friend in 1994.
Now, I remember in 1994, we were young, but we were watching this, and the whole world watched it. We watched this at school.
I was a child. I don't remember this.
And I remember after the trial, in his press release, one of the things he said was he will find the real killer, and he will not give up. Now it seems like he's got an avenue to find him. He's not even going to do it.
No, I'm not going to go there.
He's afraid the killer will get him. Didn't you read the headline?
He's a coward. O.J. Simpson is a coward. Also, I recommend reading this article because, like, if you're O.J. Simpson, there's some things that you should just never say to the public, right? He says every single one of them. He talks about how good his life is, how much women love him. He spends 5 days a week on a golf course. People take him to expensive dinners, and he's just telling them, oh yeah, I'm a killer, but I'm living the life.
Wow. Scary.
Yeah, he is scary. He's a killer. And this one is even more scary. I know that Krista often gets mad at me for adding really depressing stuff.
This one was very depressing. I saw this.
People need to know about this. This is out there.
California dad killed his kids over QAnon and serpent DNA conspiracy theories, the feds claim. So you can go read this article and get some more details, but goodness gracious.
Maybe if your mental health is struggling, like mine often is, maybe don't read the details in this article.
I don't think you're on this level, Krista.
No, I'm saying like it's depressing to read it, and reading the details will make you more depressed.
Yeah, well, I've been in a pool of darkness much deeper than this recently, so I'm fine with this. It seems to me now the lizard people conspiracy theory has been around since before we were born.
Yeah,
but somehow it's merged with QAnon here. You think that's on purpose, or is that just this guy's?
Probably just Hillary Clinton in the news.
Yeah, I think that. Well, Alex Jones always goes on and on about,
and
the lizard people.
You hear some of the stuff that Alex Jones says, and then you look at some of the stuff from Hillary Clinton, and it's like, oh.
I don't think Alex Jones is one of the lizard people guys, is he? I thought that was another guy.
No, he says that because you've never heard the folk song, the Alex Jones folk song.
I've heard him talk about the intergalactic vampire or interdimensional vampires.
Yeah, he's talked about that. There's also episodes where he talks about they're like lizards and they smell like sulfur.
Well, interdimensional, pockets would be a great place for vampires to hide. I mean, that makes sense.
Oh yeah, it's all logical.
The algorithm is just like ding,
ding, ding, ding, ding. Yeah.
You reach in to get like a screwdriver or something. You come back and there's 2 bites, and it's like, no,
not again.
They got me. Now I got to join InfoWars. And if you hear all this stuff and you say to yourself, you know what, between the madness of some guy killing his children because they have serpent DNA and the pandemic and all that stuff, I'm ready to leave it all behind. As Krista says, time to go live in the woods. Well, this man, he wasn't just talking it. he was living it.
River Dave doesn't think he can go back to being a hermit. So he was a hermit for a long time, and then he was like, you know what? I'm kind of tired of this.
81 years old.
What a legend.
He's done pretty good.
But unfortunately, tragedy struck recently, and
His house
there's his
burned down.
cabin.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wow, that must suck. Did he build that from scratch? I bet he
He
did.
did everything himself, yes.
That's sort of, and he probably did that when he was a young man, and like trying to do that amount of labor to get a home up again when you're 81 is just.
But that's not what's stopping him, Krista. What's stopping him is, it turns out, maybe he never owned the land after all.
Oh, he was squatting.
Ooh.
And,
That's actually okay if he squatted it that long.
well, no, because the guy that owns it is 84.
Oh.
And so something is going to happen with this land very soon.
Mm.
At least in the next 20 years, right?
So maybe that's why that burnt down.
Well, there are some people who are saying that the 84-year-old might be responsible for the fire. But it seems like the firefighters at this point think it, because there was some construction going on there. They were making some changes to it. I think they might have been trying to take it apart. I didn't really follow that part of the story. But they did have some power tools out there.
Mm.
Yeah. So he's saying that he doesn't think he'll ever be able to go back even to live on his own again, because the world has kind of got their hooks in him right now.
Well, and good luck finding land that's not outrageously expensive.
There is, I think there's like a church group that's like one of these separatist group, and they have a little piece of land somewhere, and they're offering to let him throw a shack up there.
Oh, I thought it said they had a cabin. That there was a cabin that he could have.
The Quakers. Maybe it was a cabin. A Quaker meeting not far from the cabin site. That's his cabin.
Oh, okay.
Worked on the meeting. Oh, they've got a meeting house.
Yeah. It was in 2010. Yeah. So he'll be fine, probably.
Hopefully.
That's a pretty amazing run. Imagine going that long, getting to 81 and not needing a doctor.
Yeah,
That's
that's impressive. Good for
Yeah.
him.
You're going to have to plan better.
Maybe I should be living. Although, imagine how clean his diet was.
Yeah.
He might have still been going to the store, but it probably wasn't very often. He might have been gardening out there too.
No, he said he raised all of his own food.
Wow.
And one of the things that like he's really worried about, and that they've finally agreed to let him go back onto the land for, is to get his cats and chickens.
Aw.
That's good. Well, it probably had a lot of eggs and a lot of chicken-derived stuff, because that's easy to grow and easy to, deal with.
Now, I'll tell you what, though, River Dave, if you're out there listening and you're not going back to your hermit lifestyle, let me set you up a YouTube and a Twitch channel, sir. We're going to make a lot
Teach
of
us.
money. Yeah.
Let me
Teach
introduce
us your wisdom.
I want a video of introducing you to the air fryer.
Or you can do an entire reaction channel with just Dave. He's never seen any of it.
No, I want Dave to teach us, like, how did he garden enough food every
we'll-
season?
We'll do that. Dave is a fountain of content.
Yeah.
A never-ending fountain. The only problem with Dave is he's going to be dead soon.
I wonder if he has Social Security. And if not, it's like, hey, here's your free
He is
money.
really old.
Would he have ever paid into it?
I think that even if you don't pay into it, you get the minimum.
I don't know. Did he have a use for money? I'm sure he had to buy some stuff, right?
Or like tools occasionally. Like, you can have a really nice garden hoe, but eventually, like, it's gonna need repairs or sharpening or something, and like you can't do all of that yourself.
Sounds like we need to learn more about Dave.
Yeah.
Well, going from a shining example of a human being to one of the lowest.
Man accused of tattooing child inside a fast food
I
restaurant.
have a lot of questions.
There's a lot of questions.
And the question that never gets answered, what was the tattoo?
Yeah.
They didn't say?
What would you tattoo if you had to tattoo
Grimace.
your child? You think it was McDonald's related?
Yeah, it was McDonald's. I was almost certainly, scroll down. It's almost certainly McDonald's, right?
I know it was in a McDonald's. We know that much.
See, they said fast food in the headline, but everyone knew
Yeah.
McDonald's.
And in the front dining area. So he was like multitasking his lunch, but it's like, yeah, I got to eat, but I also got to get this tattoo done. I promised him.
It'd be funnier if it was like, if it was one of the old McDonald's that still had the ball pit. He was tattooing him in the ball pit.
Come to Dave's Ball Pit Tattoos at your local McDonald's. It's like, are they on board with that? Yeah, that's fine.
What's that wetness on my sock? Someone peed in here earlier. Don't worry about it.
So 2 charges, illegal tattooing and tattooing of a person under 18 years of age. Where's the child endangerment?
Yeah, because if you do that with like a bad needle and in a dirty environment like a fast food restaurant,
Or
open yourself up to an infection.
even a perfectly sterile, beautiful tattoo on a child.
Yeah.
The child cannot consent to such things.
Well, that's probably why they had the under 18 part, but
Hong Kong is introducing several new laws and clearly focused on making sure that people don't say or do certain things.
Hong Kong to outlaw acts desecrating the Chinese flag on the internet.
this isn't really Hong Kong doing this, is it?
Well, what do you mean, Krista?
I'm implying that maybe Hong Kong doesn't make its own laws anymore.
Do you think the mainland government has some control there?
No.
Well, they have control over the mainland for sure, and they've made some laws there as well.
China to ban karaoke songs with illegal content that endangers national unity. 50,000 venues will be encouraged to provide quote-unquote healthy songs rather than those threatening territorial integrity or religious policy.
So based on that, would you have any idea what to leave out?
Yeah, don't talk about Hong Kong.
Are there a lot of songs about Hong Kong?
Declare Independence by Bjork, out. Never again.
Engagement challenge. What are the best songs that would get caught by this filter? That's what I want to know. What
you think
tracks?
WAP? Would it get caught? I bet it would.
Probably would.
National Unity.
I was thinking it would be Chinese language stuff, but Western
I bet,
stuff.
yeah, a lot of Western stuff.
Yeah. Wonder if that was a phenomenon in Asian countries.
I don't know.
They had to be aware of it, right?
Probably.
I mean, if Psy is that popular here,
Yeah, well, and there's all the others like Blackpink and stuff like that. K-pop's really exploded here last couple years.
when I bought my parents that Fire TV, I was showing them how to use the Alexa remote. And I was like, Alexa, play the number 1 song in America right now. And it was Butter by BTS. And the looks on their faces.
I was just like,
what? Because that's K-pop, right? Or something like it.
It seems like K-pop groups are always like just random initials. So maybe I haven't heard that particular song.
Well, I love to do these stories about homes that are just priced completely irrationally. And it just gets worse and worse as we spiral into hyperinflation.
Burned out Bay Area home lists for $850,000 and offers are rolling in. Now, this makes perfect sense to me. If you're acclimated to what you're going to pay for a house, this is fine because you can build the house to be whatever you want. The cost of building a house on this $850,000 lot is a tiny fraction of the lot. So if you get the lot, you can build the house to be exactly what you want it to be. And that's a very small cost compared to the actual space.
And then you can sell it to a Google employee
for
like
1.5
5
million.
times the amount. Yeah. Beautiful, beautiful plan. Well, R. Kelly's made some bad decisions in his life. I think it's safe to say. Most of them have to do with sex. Not a surprise if you look at the topics of his music. I mean, he was kind of, the warning signs were always there.
The warning signs.
But when you have really, really well-paid lawyers, sometimes they'll make some outlandish claims just because what else can you say?
R. Kelly claims that herpes is not an STI and asks for the charges to be dropped. And their lawyers are saying that, well, the New York State Department of Health doesn't define that in such a way that that's what that is, so...
When did we go from STD to STI? Is there a difference?
Disease versus infection, I guess so, because so many can be cured now. Maybe that's why they call it an infection.
But the argument here is that things that can be cured, like gonorrhea and syphilis, do count, whereas something that can't be cured, like herpes, is not. Also, get ready for this.
I was getting ready, but we've lost the passage. Say anything.
It's worth
they're
it.
Listening.
It's worth it. You guys talk about something else.
R. Kelly song
Hot
stuff.
and fresh out the kitchen, mama rolling that bot. Okay.
All right, here it is. You ready for it? Okay, so R. Kelly is in prison right now, right?
Yeah.
When you go to prison as a celebrity, you can be a bit of a target. You might come across people in prison who you just can't reason with. So just imagine yourself in this scenario, right? Maybe you get in a traffic accident and kill somebody, right? And then like the case just doesn't go your way. You end up in prison, and one day you cross this man.
Oh.
He is he's a member of a gang. I think it's MS-13 or something like that. Latin Kings. I'm sorry, sir. Latin Kings. He stabbed R. Kelly with a pen a couple of times.
Wow.
Yeah.
Do you think that pen had any ink in it after this?
They might have emptied it out first. And dumb foods is another headline that I will always put in the nonsense section. Sounds disgusting, but they say it's amazing.
Pumpkin spice cup noodles to hit Walmart shelves this October. So pumpkin spice ramen noodles, basically.
Is it? So I'm thinking like, is it gonna be like Thai noodles, like pumpkin Thai, where it's like got curry and stuff in it, so it's spicy?
I'm going to expect pumpkin spice latte in noodle form.
Well, but no, you'd be wrong. They're not going with a broth. This is a sauce, so it's like a thicker pumpkin spice.
But surely it's spiced, like spicy, like it's got Asian spice in it, like a pumpkin
horrifying.
soup.
I don't know. You can find out.
Because you can do savory pumpkin stuff. It's not as common here in the States, but maybe this would be okay. If I find it, I'll buy some and we'll try it.
Well, it's going to be at Walmart. I'm sure it'll be everywhere, right?
I mean, I don't go to Walmart, but if I see it at the regular store.
You can make a special trip for that, Krista.
And then we'll try it on the news.
Replace an orange
for
soda
October.
day.
I can start decorating the office again because I'm here. Wendell, your favorite. We're going to have spider webs all over the set.
Oh, we can recycle the snow.
Yeah.
Well, you say you'll be here, Krista, but will you?
Yeah, I guess we'll see how the incidence rate goes up.
Because you know they're always waiting. I'm not talking about that.
Oh.
I'm talking about this.
Black hole burps may help determine their size. Look at how ominous that photo. What a great stock photo.
Well, it's not a photo.
It's a really interesting way to describe the phenomenon, but black holes emit Hawking radiation and X-rays when they consume a bunch of stuff, and based on the size of that burp, we may be able to infer how big the black hole is.
If it's a massive one, it's a massive black hole.
Super massive, in fact.
What a great photo.
Krista, it says when you think about black holes, you probably don't tend to wonder if they're hungry. Something tells me you do.
No, they're always hungry for my blood.
And your limbs.
They're
which they will
spiraling
forget
through
about.
space looking for human flesh.
And this one, when I saw the headline, I thought, yeah, right. Yeah, sure, it's going to look like that. I bet it looks nothing like that. I'll be damned.
A research vessel found SpongeBob lookalikes a mile under the ocean's surface.
Get ready for it because it is fantastic. And
Are you ready, kids?
And there's a starfish, a pink starfish.
Oh.
Yeah, that's...
That is actually incredible. I saw that image and I was like, surely that's Photoshopped, but it is actually a yellow sponge.
Amazing. Now, the guy who captured this did have a little bit of a bummer to add at the end of it, and that is that these, in nature, these are not friends, and most likely that little starfish is going to be eating the sponge very shortly.
You know, if I had to put, like, which character would eat the other, I would say Patrick Star would eat SpongeBob.
But
so that makes sense.
There's a little bit of hope. The brightly colored yellow might mean that it's very, very poisonous. So they could both die.
Fantastic.
Excellent. A suicide pact. Let's teach kids that.
When I saw this article initially, like, I just saw an ocean. I thought this was going to be the story about, there was a video of the Mariana Trench, and there was, you know, like the thing exploring it, and it was like, look at all these cool rocks, and then there was just a piece of, like, frozen Disney-themed trash floating through the water, and I was like, oh.
What was the intellectual property?
It was Frozen. Like, it was Elsa.
When you say Frozen.
Yeah,
okay.
no, it wasn't that the merch itself was frozen. It was just like a doll from Disney, just floating in the Mariana Trench. And it was like, wow, that's so sad.
Yeah, the ocean garbage thing is
very
really
depressing.
staggering.
If there was an Atlantis, they would have already, like, probably nuked us.
They're all down there with those
things around their necks.
soda tabs.
Yeah.
They all just did. Yeah. Just a bunch of skeletons with soda tabs wrapped around their necks. All right.
Well, that's it. On that note.
Well, thanks for joining us for another week of the news. We'll see you next week.
It's almost, what was it, September?
Oh,
It's almost September.
Please no.
The end of Juggust is upon us, and we're going into September.
Bye.